Hello there. My name is Jeff, and I'm one of the teachers at the student school. So thanks for hopping on with me. I'm actually one of the teachers, but I also do some guidance at the school along with my partner, Susan. So if you're calling the school, often you might be speaking to us or to Lisa, who is our office administrator. She's usually the person picking up the phone. Anyhow, you got me for today here. So I'm just going to walk you a little bit through the school and to give you an idea about some of the things that we do at the student school. And of course, hopefully this will answer some of your questions as well. If not, then of course, email me or give us a ring and we're happy to talk to you over the phone. Typically, we have people come into the building, and of course, right now with the COVID situation, that's not possible. So we put together this slideshow, and hopefully this answers some of your questions. We are the student school, and as you probably know, we're located in the West End. We're in the same building as Western Tech, and we also share the building with Ursula Franklin Academy, and there's a Section 23 program called the George Hull program, a couple of daycares. So we do have a lot going on in that building. Now, having said that, we have our own separate entrance and exit, and we're pretty self-contained. We have a little wing up on the 3rd floor and a few rooms up on the 4th floor. So we're pretty contained. Our students tend to stay within the confines of our own school, or maybe they're out front of the school on the picnic tables during the break. But it's a nice little space. So we encourage you to come by when you can. Let's move along here. Yeah, we've been around for a while. The TDSB has had alternative schools since the late 1960s. A number of them came into being in the 70s. We were founded in the late 70s with a mission to re-engage high school dropouts. So early on, I remember when I was teaching early on, I was in my early 20s. I actually had a fella who was in his 30s. So that was back in the days when students could be over the age of 21 and attend regular schools. That's changed, of course, today. But we have morphed over the years. We were focusing on that for a number of years. We kind of transitioned into more of a school that was focusing on things like social activism, environmentalism, community support. We had a lot of we did a big fundraiser for years and years supporting women's shelters. Over the past decade or so, we've transitioned again, and our focus tends to be more on wellness, mental health, resilience training. We've seen the type of students coming into our school, and we try to adjust to meet their needs. So that's been a focus over the past number of years, and we've modified our program to sort of accommodate for that. So we'll talk a bit about some of the things that we do at our school that may be a little bit unique. I think it's safe to say that with all alternative schools across the TDSB, there's been a lot of cutting edge stuff happening. And, the mental health piece, for example, we've been sort of on that for many years before the mainstream high schools jump on. So we've been doing things like bringing in therapy dogs and guest speakers around resilience for years now. So it's one of the things I think that makes us special. We try new things, sort of on the forefront of educational philosophy and so on. So I think it's one of the things I like about alternative schools. We're small, we're comfortable, we try new things. So one of the things that we do, of course, is around individual staff mentors. I think that's something that I'll talk a bit about in a moment as well. Certainly support for at-risk students. And as you can imagine, we're an LGBTQ positive space, the entire school. And we have these democratic all-school council meetings that we've had since the school was founded, really back in the late 70s. So there's a lot of things that we can point to here that kind of make us a little different. One thing you should know is that we do only offer grade 11 and 12. So we are a senior high school. All of our students are coming in from other places, whether it be from the TDSB, some of the neighboring high schools. But we do have students coming in from all over the city. We have students who commute right across town to come to our school. We have students coming in from the Catholic board. So there's really a range of people coming into the school. We do offer courses at the college and university levels, excuse me, as well as a few open level courses as well. So many of our students do go on to college or university across Ontario and across Canada. And we do offer courses that would prepare them for that. Now, looking at this is a typical schedule for us. We typically offer a semester timetable. That's what we're hoping to offer in 2021, 2022. But of course, COVID has wreaked sort of havoc with our education as a system, as you know, and we're adopting, based on what the TDSB tells us and what the province tells us. So we'll see how it goes. We are hoping to have this running this year, and of course, we have modified it. We're now following the same timetable that any other high school in Toronto is following. That's the quad-mestered system with the online learning. But come September, we're hoping to have a semester timetable back in place. Students would typically take between 3 and 5 classes each semester. The norm is 4, but you can take as few as 3 so that you're still a full-time student, or in exceptional circumstances, you might take 5 courses if you're really trying to accumulate credits, but that's a pretty taxing timetable. We do offer what's called a blended learning program. So this is, students this year are experiencing this for sure with COVID. But the idea here, we've been doing this for years now, is that students are learning. It's blended in that they're learning in the building. We do have live classes in the building that students are required to attend, but they can also, part of the course is also done online. So there's a blend between in class and online. So there's fewer hours in class, and they're expected to make those hours up, virtually on their own. And I'll talk more about how that schedule works, but it's not for everyone. You do need to have a little bit of discipline to do your online work on your own. But there is that nice social aspect of the school where you're in a classroom and there's a teacher there and you have fellow students. And I think that's important. I think we're learning that this year with COVID for sure. The platform that we use is Google Classroom. And we're finding now that, most of our students are pretty familiar with Google Classroom. They've used it in elementary or middle school, and they're pretty comfortable with that. If they're not, we certainly give them a quick tutorial on how to use that. And of course, we have Wi-Fi throughout the building. Guidance is a big part of our school. We do have every student, I think I mentioned this earlier, every student has a staff advisor who is one of their teachers. And the staff advisor is assigned to them, usually one of their subject teachers. They can request a certain staff advisor as well if you're feeling that there's someone you really connect with. And there are meetings that happen throughout the semester. This year, we've been doing them all virtually. But typically you might have a person-to-person meeting, and you might talk about things like, what are the graduation requirements? Is my transcript in order? We find that there's a lot of mistakes often on transcripts where they're missing things, or they think they have things that they don't have. There is discussion around post-secondary options, and certainly we talk about how things are going with courses and really overall support. Things can head off in different directions here. We have people who might want to talk about some things that are happening at home, all in confidentiality, of course. And we might suggest that they have a meeting with one of our support workers, one of our child and youth workers, or social worker. That might be an option as well. We also have a special education resource teacher as well, that we might say, maybe it might be a good idea to talk to Sean to get some help because you're falling behind and you might need some structure here. So we're also the point people for students who are under 18. So a parent has a question, typically they'll email the staff advisor, and the staff advisor can help answer some questions for you. Okay, moving along. Some of the things that we offer, again, we've been focusing a lot on student wellness and academic growth at our school. We do have an on-site child and youth worker, as well as an on-site child and youth counselor. And we do have access to a social worker as well, who's into our building once a week, and as well as a special education teacher named Sean. He's in every Monday, typically, he offers IEP support. And of course, we're a positive space school. As I mentioned before, we offer grade 11, 12 courses, both compulsory courses and electives. As you probably know, you need 30 credits to graduate high school. 18 of those are compulsory credits, 12 are elective courses. So as you head up into the senior grades, you tend to have more electives. And again, one of the things to keep in mind if you're applying to university or college, sometimes they have specific requirements for their programs. So you might say, I must have a senior level mathematics course at the university level. So these are things you want to make sure you're looking at, and you can talk to your staff advisor about these things as well. But you want to make sure when you're selecting courses that you're selecting courses with that in mind. We do have a few open level courses as well. And but the goal is to get to that 30 and to get out of high school, right? And one of the things, probably the best idea here would be to look at our website, thestudentschool.org, to see which courses are running in any given semester, because we're small. We can't offer all the courses that a larger high school offers, but we do pretty well for a small school. Again, learning is about more than simply what you're doing in the classroom. We try to do a lot of things around hands-on learning, field trips, guest speakers. We try to get out into the community just to make sure that learning is well-rounded. So, here we're at the aquarium. We go to conservation areas. So there's different things that we do, making films, etc. So we try to encourage guest speakers to come in, but we also try to get out of the building and check out our community. And more on that here. This is Butila Karposh, our member of provincial parliament, who's into our school to talk about government and getting involved in our community. We've had lawyers come in, and the list goes on. And again, we try to tailor things to the interests of our students. I mean, one of the things right now, of course, is around looking to the future and looking to the future of our planet. And our students are interested in these issues like climate change. So we try to encourage students to be involved in those things as well. In terms of our quote unquote departments, we really don't have departments. We have one teacher typically in charge of a department. This is one of our longest serving teachers. This is Hugh, and he, of course, is our science department. He offers a range of science courses, wonderful courses in bio, chem, earth-based science, senior math, fully equipped science classroom. And he likes to get out as well, taking kids on geological hikes along the Humber River and things of that nature. So we encourage you to check out science and math. We offer personal fitness. We have our own fitness room. This is actually a picture here of our fitness room. And we also try to get outside as well when we can. We make use of Western from time to time, Western gym facilities. And it's always a popular course. For a small school, we have a lot of arts offerings, as you can see here. And these do change from semester to semester. But the art room is always a hub of activity. It's always usually open during the day, and people are in there working on various different things. And we always have grads heading off to OCAD, for example. So there's a wide range of 11, 12. Usually these are combined. There'll be an 11/12 class. And we encourage you to take the 11 before the 12, but that's not always necessary. And we can talk about that. And probably our largest department would be this: English, social science, humanities. There's several teachers that teach these courses. So we offer a range of 11, 12 courses. And obviously English is the big one. English is one course that runs every semester. The English 12U tends to run every semester. And but other ones sort of come and go, other classes here. So it depends on the semester. But we do have offerings such as Indigenous Studies and Genocide, grade 11. Plagues, Pandemics, and Progress is a big one this year. It's an IDC 4U course, Food and Healthy Living, Philosophy, Psychology of Human Development, and there's a lot more. So we tend to survey our students at the end of the year to see what courses they want to have offered in the upcoming year. And we'll try to, if we have the staffing, we'll try to offer those courses. Food and healthy living. Now, this is a big area for us as well. Unfortunately, this year with COVID, we had to shut the kitchen down fully, so we haven't offered this year, but we're really hoping that in the future, we'll be able to reopen the kitchen and get back in there. Eating has always been a big part of our community at the student school, and students can take a couple of different food and healthy living courses. There's a food and culture course. There's a food and healthy living course. We also cook on our Wednesday program, so the kitchen gets a lot of use. This room is open usually at lunchtime, and students can use the room as long as they clean up after themselves. And just to give you an idea of a typical timetable, this was what we were supposed to be doing for 2020, 2021, and we hope to be back to something like this for 2021, 2022. We are semestered. I mentioned that before. And this is how our timetable looks. This is a worksheet here. So you can see here that we run on actually a 3-day schedule: day 1, day 2, day 3. Typically, this would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back to Thursday, Friday. So that would be our typical week. So for example, if you're taking, let's say you're taking math functions 12U, you'd have that class 2 days in a week. You'd have it on the Monday and again on the Thursday. So that you'd be required to be in that classroom for those 2 classes. Now, there is other time that you're online doing work, and that's on your own time. But there's plenty of time for you to do that because you're not in the building all the time. So let's imagine that's Monday, that's Tuesday, that's Wednesday. You'll notice here Wednesday is a bit different. We do have what's called the Wednesday program, the day 3 program. It's a very special part of our school, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But typically, if you're a student at our school, you're taking, let's say, 3 minimum, maybe 4 classes, maybe 5 if you're really eager to get through high school and you think you can handle it, and we think you can handle it. But you might take, let's say you're a senior student, you're in grade 12, you're getting ready for university, you need some 12 university level courses, you need your top 6. You might be taking math functions here. You might be taking English grade 12U here in period 2. You might be taking philosophy here after lunch, grade 12 university philosophy. Let's say you don't have a period 4. Let's say you're going to not take anything there, but your 4th class might be over here. You want to take law, right? So those would be the times you'd have to be in the building. You'd have to be in the building on day 1 for periods 1, 2, 3, and on day 2 for period 2. Other than that, you don't have to be in the building. Okay, you can be in the building and you can be working in one of our open classrooms that's not being used or in our work maker space. But again, students might structure their timetable based on what classes they need, or they might base it on certain other things. We have students, for example, who work in the evening, so they tend to take all their classes here. They take 1, 2, 3, 4 classes all in the afternoon, so they don't have to even be in the building until after lunch. Other students might say, you know what, I'm going to take 4 classes. I'm going to take math here, English here, philosophy here, psychology of human development down here. Those are my 4 classes. I don't have to be in the building on day 2. So there's 2 days a week where they don't have to be in the building. So there's different ways of structuring it. Some people can't get out of bed in the morning, so they take only afternoon classes. Others might say, I work in the afternoons, I'm only going to take morning classes. So there are different ways to structure your timetable. And of course, the idea here is that if you do have a spare, let's say you have a math class here, you have a spare here, a class here, use that spare to get your online work done. That's how it works. Now, there are exceptions to the schedule on a week where we might have a holiday, for example. Let's say there's a Friday off. There's a PA day on a Friday. We go day 1 is Monday, day 2 is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, we skip the day 3. We cancel it that week. So there are weeks where we might cancel the day 3 program if there's a shortened week. Okay, so I'll talk more about day 3 in a minute. Day 3 is here's the schedule for it, and a portion of your mark in any given class is linked to day 3 attendance. So you're expected to be in the building on day 3. It's a great community day. It's a great day to sort of catch up on things. There are all sorts of enhancements, the programs that we offer on the day 3 that are wonderful. We start the day with a staff meeting. Our staff meets weekly because we want to talk about how things are going with each and every student. So we meet from 9 until 10:10. And then at 10:15, all the students are in the building along with all the staff. And we have an all-school council meeting. And we do this up in our double classroom up on the 4th floor. And we have an agenda. Often students will lead the meeting. They'll chair the meeting. There might be announcements. There might be, agenda items to discuss. There might be a motion that comes to the floor. There might be a motion. For example, a simple motion might be, let's have a motion that we have a school picnic, and there's a seconder to the motion. We discuss the pros and cons, and we vote on it. 1 person, 1 vote. Following that, we have sessions that run, and usually there's 3 or 4 or 5 options for each session. So for example, session 1, and this is all posted outside the main office on a whiteboard. You might come in the morning and say, okay, for session 1, I'm going to do, there are therapy dogs in the school, so I'm going to attend the therapy dog session for session 1. Or we might say we've booked the swimming pool and you might come down for a swim, or the fitness room, or maybe the art room. They're doing something in there. They're doing a craft in the art room, or there's a cooking session. So there are different options, and you can select one of the options, and there'll be a teacher in there overseeing things, and you participate. Occasionally, your teacher might be doing something that's linked to class. So for example, let's say your chemistry teacher, your 12U chemistry class only runs twice a week. He might say, you know what, I need to do this lab. I don't have time to do it in class, so we're going to run a chemistry lab session too. So that would take priority over going to see the therapy dogs, for example. Or I might say, I teach social sciences. I might say, I really want you guys to watch this film. I don't have time to show it in class, so I'm going to screen this film session too. So things like that. That's how it works. We also offer free lunch on Wednesday. So there's always a nutritious lunch. You don't need to worry about bringing lunch. And one of the teachers, along with some students, will usually make lunch on the Wednesday program. So that's semester 1, or a hypothetical semester 1. This is not, keep in mind, this was what we were supposed to have this year, and we're developing a timetable for next year. It'll be similar to this, but with a few tweaks. This is semester 2. So again, just to give you an idea what kind of courses might be offered in any given semester. So you can see here, there's a range of 11 and 12 courses. Some are split courses. So for example, here you'll see English grade 12 university, or if you already have your grade 12 university English on your transcript, you could take it as an English literature course, ETS4U. Similarly, some of our art classes are offered at the 11-12 level. So you can take photography as a grade 11 course or as a grade 12 course, and we can help you with that. Typically, you would get the 11 before the 12. It's the prerequisite. But there are some exceptions to that. If you're really in need of a grade 12 senior level course, this is a mixed level course, we might make an exception. So that's how that works. Okay, and you can see the class times here. Classes run from 9 until 10:20, 10:20 to 11:40 for period 2, after lunch 12:40 to 2, and then 2 to 3:20. Those are the class times. We don't have bells at our school. We don't have beepers or bells. Teachers will let you go when it's time to go. Okay, here's a little bit more information on the schedule. We talked about the attendance or the day 3 program and how there is mandatory attendance for everyone on that day, and a portion of your grade is linked to that Wednesday attendance. We've talked about the times for the classes, a little bit different on the Wednesday program. And some of the options for Wednesday we've talked about as well. Therapy dogs, science labs, first aid training was a big one as well. And the list goes on. We try to get our field trips scheduled on Wednesdays as well, and guest speakers and so on. And these are just a few, I think, some images here of our Wednesdays, and it is a special day. There's Charlie with one of our therapy dogs. We do some activities in our makerspace that we call it the hub, that room. I think they're building whatever team could build the highest balloon tower won a prize that day. So there are different sorts of, leadership, team building activities, STEM activities. And as is mentioned here, sometimes they're related to class, but often we have open sessions. And a little bit more on the Wednesday program. We talk about some of our field trips here. We typically try to schedule our post-secondary college and university information sessions. We'll often have reps come in from the different universities and colleges to talk about their programs. We do it on that day. Free lunch. Free lunch. And again, just some images of our Wednesday. So you can see the therapy dog. Look at this guy. Making birdhouses here. I think we're making pasta cars here. So whatever team had a car that could travel the furthest down a ramp won a prize, I think here. There's a science lab there. And the list goes on here. That's a snake there, I think. We had first aid training, etc. So these are always fun days, and it's a great way to connect with people. And I think we're realizing that this year with COVID, how that is important to have those connections with people. So we're hoping to get back to that. Some of in terms of our space at the student school, it's a wonderful space. As I mentioned before, we occupy a wing, third floor at the school, in the building rather. And, we have a nutrition station. If you happen to miss lunch or breakfast rather, you can grab breakfast with us. Well, it's not really breakfast, but it's something anyway. And we do have this maker space, the kitchen I mentioned before. So there's a number of things that I think are kind of nice about the school. A grow tower there. In terms of guidance, we do have an open door policy. Both Susan and I teach, but we also do guidance at the school. So if you're in need of some advice about post-secondary or accessing community supports, or you're having some kind of crisis, we have an open door policy. Come in to 301 and we'll do what we can to assist you. Usually one of us is in there, the other one's probably teaching. But this is important, especially if you're guidance advisors in the middle of a class. You can come see us. The other person you might want to pop in to say hi to is Lisa. She's our office administrator. She's in room 302 and she's wonderful. Usually when you call the school, Lisa's answering the phone. Yeah, so there you go. Some more things about our space. There's our community kitchen. We often, even when it's not a Wednesday program, we have the kitchen open at lunchtime and students will make use of it. They'll make themselves lunch in there, as long as you clean up after yourselves. I'm not doing your dishes for you. Again, probably one of the best ways of describing the program is through what our students have to say about the program. So you can see here, and we'll post this later on. New is one of our recent graduates, and he has wonderful things to say about the school. He's a great kid. Came to us with some challenges and certainly thrived he's at Ryerson now. Paula graduated years ago, and she's since gone on to do all sorts of wonderful things. So we do have students going on to post-secondary, to university, to college across the country. Typically they stay in Ontario, but some of them leave. They go off to the West Coast or the East Coast, and we help with that process as well, obviously. And usually probably one of the nicest days is at graduation, when you see these people graduating and you think, oh, it's nice. It's such a nice day for us. Another nice day is our school picnic day. We try to have a picnic both in the spring and in the fall over at High Park. So now that I've convinced you to come to the school, here's the registration info. We've moved online. So the best place to go, of course, is to our website, thestudentschool.org. You'll find all the TDSB registration forms are there, and you need to fill those out. And we've also moved our course selection online as well. So you can actually pick your courses online, and we'll verify those are the right picks for you. But this, of course, we're trying to make things a little easier here, given the circumstances. Typically, people will come into the school and fill out things in person, but again, with COVID, we've moved everything virtually. If you're having trouble with this, so by all means, reach out to myself or Susan or Lisa, and we can help you with that. These are things you need to register. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we only do 11, 12, so we don't offer grade 9 or 10 courses. We have some students who come into our program who don't have all their 10 courses. They might be missing a course here or there, and that's okay. We can still enroll you in the program, but you'll need to, at some point, make up those courses. You might be missing a civics or a French or something, and you can get those through night school or summer school or something. We can talk to you about that. We accept students from anywhere in Toronto. As long as you have a Toronto address, you can come to the student school. We do have students that come, typically a lot of students coming from the High Park neighborhood. But we do have students in some of the neighboring schools in our area. But we do have students coming from across the city, and some students from the Catholic board. So there's really a range of students coming in. If you're under 18, of course, we do need to have a parent or guardian sign off on your paperwork. Okay. Once you're over 18, you are considered an adult. Oops, I went too fast there. I keep scrolling ahead. Sorry about that. And you will also need to, as you see at the bottom here, if possible, contact your guidance teacher at your existing school so that they can send over a credit counseling summary or a transcript. And you can email those to us. And you see the email address here at the bottom, the student school at tdsb.on.ca. So we want to make sure that you have the courses that you need to come into our program, that this is suitable for you, and so on. So we'll need to see a copy of either your transcript or your credit counseling summary, and your existing guidance teacher should be able to provide that to you. If you have questions about this process, obviously give us a ring. We're happy to talk to you. This is important. As you know, we're in the middle of COVID, and which is horrible. And we are still awaiting instructions from the TDSB and the Ministry of Education around what school will look like in September. And as soon as we know, we will update things. We're kind of moving ahead with under the assumption that things will be back to some kind of new normal. Obviously, enhanced safety in place, but we're hoping to have some kind of regular classes running, in-person classes running in September. This is a little link to a tour of our school, and I encourage you to have a look at that at some point just to see kind of a walk through the building, and it gives you an idea of what the place looks like. A video walkthrough. And of course, at the end of the day, this is the goal, to get people graduated and moving on. And we're really proud of our graduates. We tend to have had our graduation at the Hyde Park Curling Club for many years now. We rent that place. Obviously, you see 2020 is missing here. It was a bit of a tricky one with COVID, so that was shut down on us. And we hope to have some kind of graduation, a real graduation this year, but it's a wait and see situation. But that's always a nice night. And you can see here, not all our graduates attend necessarily. Some are unable to attend for various reasons, but we do usually get a nice number of kids out. Just to finish off, just some more images of the school. And just to give you a feel of the place. And, I've been at the school for over 20 years. It's home for me. I love the place. And we really hope to have you join us. So certainly, if you have any questions, give us a ring. We're happy to answer any questions. We'll have a timetable out, a timetable for September 2021 out probably in April. And we do register people, from April right through the summertime, right into September. Some classes might fill up, in which case we'll have to close those classes, but typically we have spots for people right into the fall. Okay, so we hope to see you at our school, and we can introduce you to our staff, and we think it's a great spot. So hopefully this answers some of your questions, and feel free to give us a ring. Thanks so much, and good luck with your school search, no matter where you end up.